Ready? Shema Yasha'ala Ahaya Alahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad.
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 Hear, O Israel, the Most High, thy power is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Most High power is one.
Okay. So we're going to start off by reading some of the commentary. I gave y'all a brief synopsis of what the lesson would entail. So we're going to start off by reading a little of the commentary.
It says, there are many that suffer from anxiety and depression. The pharmaceutical industry is overflowing with mood-altering drug grossing in the billions per year. And yet, the user of such drugs never seem to be able to escape the mental torment of such destructive thoughts. Is there another way to cure these issues we oftentimes fall victim to? Is there something the scriptures can reveal to us as far as understanding how to overcome these states of mental imprisonment? We will find out today.
So let's get Philippians, the 4th chapter. So they figured out a way to take our condition and capitalize off of it and benefit from it. That's what they thought. They thought of how can we benefit from their oppression and benefit from their depression. How can we give them some form of alleviation besides the drugs that we're pumping into their communities, besides the liquor stores that we're putting on all the corners? What else can we do to add to their demise, but also add to our prosperity? Because that's what the pharmaceutical companies do. They're benefiting from our condition, from our state, from our mental state, from all the anguish and the disparity that we can't cope with. All right? Let me get it. So let's start at Philippians, the 4th chapter. Let's start from verse 5.
Philippians chapter 4, verse 5.
Start from verse 4, excuse me.
Philippians chapter 4, verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
Rejoice in the Most High always. And again I say rejoice.
Mm-hmm.
Let your moderation be known unto all men. The Most High is at hand. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Let your requests be known unto the Most High.
Right.
In peace of the Most High, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Yeshua Christ.
Right. So that's what should keep us in a peaceful mind. The knowledge and the truth of Yeshua should keep us in a peaceful state. But a lot of times that doesn't work for our people. We feel like we need more. And by the real truth and the real knowledge not really being taught in the religious community or in the church system, a lot of times we don't know what to rely on. We don't know what to have hope in. We don't know what to believe in. We don't know where our security and our rest lie at. So we kind of depend on society. We depend on the world. We depend on all the things that the world offers us to give us that comfortability and peace. And without it, a lot of times we feel incomplete. Okay? What's more on that?
Last verse, verse 8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things.
Right. So we should think on positive things. We should think on constructive things. And a lot of times, because we find ourselves always in a state of disparity, a lot of times we don't know how to deal with these things. We don't know how to deal with our hardship. We don't know how to deal with our suffering. So we start dealing with controlled substances that alter our mood, that makes us appear or seem to be happy. You know, for some apparent reason in our minds, we feel like we use these things as a coping mechanism instead of just trusting and believing in what the Most High says scripturally. But a lot of times we don't really know what the Most High says scripturally. We don't know about the promises. We don't know about the hope. We don't know what the faith and the patience of the saints are. Okay, in most cases, a lot of us don't know. Let's get St. John the 14th chapter. And if we knew a little more about our culture, you understand, and our history, our rich history, maybe we would feel more inspirational. Maybe we would feel more confident. One moment. I'm sorry, I went St. John 14, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, St. John 14. Let's start with verse 15.
St. John chapter 14, verse 15. If you love me, keep my commandments.
Right?
And I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that she may abide with you forever.
Right. So that's what our people need. Yeshua was telling the disciples that keep his commandments and that he would send another comforter because they felt uncomfortable. They felt uneasy about Yeshua leaving them. Okay. And we feel we shared that same discomfort in our lives, not knowing the truth about ourselves, not having any understanding that it's the Holy Spirit that would bring us the comfort, that she would alleviate the tension and the stress that we feel in our lives. Okay, read.
Verse 17. Even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive.
Right, even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot see, because the world is living a lie. So the world don't want to receive the truth about the Most High, about Yeshua, about his chosen people. So they're living a lie. Read.
Because it seeth her not, neither knoweth her, but ye know her. For she dwelleth with you, and shall be in you. I will not leave you comfortless.
Right. So it's interesting. It says that the Holy Spirit dwell with us, and she'll be with us, and she'll be in us. Okay, but that's not what we take comfort in. We take more comfort in having the liquor in us, and having the pills in us, the narcotics or the controlled substance. Instead of allowing her to alter our mind state, we kind of have a dependency on the pharmaceutical products. Read.
Verse 19. Yet a little while, and the world seeth me no more, but you see me, because I live. Ye shall live also. At that day ye shall know that I am in my Father, and you in me, and I in you. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father. And I will love him, and will manifest myself to him. Judas said unto him, not Iscariot, Lord, how is it that thou wilt manifest thyself unto us, and not unto the world? Yeshua answered and said unto him, if a man love me, he will love my word. He will keep my words, and my Father will love him.
Right. So Yeshua is manifest to us through us keeping his word, keeping his laws, his statutes, and his commandments. This is how we relate to him. This is how we see him. All right. Read.
And we will come unto him and make our abode with him.
Right. So not only will the Most High come and Yeshua come, but the Holy Spirit will come, and they will make their abode within us, or within these particular individuals who seek them or embraces them. Read.
Verse 24. He that loveth me not keepeth not my sayings, and the word which you hear is not mine, but the Father which sent me. These things have I spoken unto you, being yet present with you. But the Comforter, which is the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, she shall teach you all things, and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you.
That's interesting too, because the Holy Spirit, the Comforter, the Rawchaa, she brings a lot of things in remembrance. All our creativity, it comes from her. All our inspiration, it comes from her. But what do we like to do? We like to rely on the other substance to kind of give us our little push when it comes to us having creativity. You know, speaking about cannabis, a lot of people rely on that controlled substance to enhance their their ability, when the Holy Spirit does all that. Okay, read. Nobody can write better than she can. No imagination is better than hers. Okay, read.
Verse 27. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you.
Interesting. So he said, listen, I give you a certain particular kind of peace, not the peace that the world give you. The world don't give you peace. The world give people temporary relief through their narcotics and their drugs. But he's like, listen, I'm going to give you my peace. And this is the peace that we're lacking. This is the peace that we don't have. And this is why a lot of our people are in the state that they're in. And they're we're looking for peace. We're looking for rest. We're looking for comfort. We're looking for security. And we're finding all these things and everything else besides the one that only can give it to us. And that's Yeshaya. Okay? Read.
Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid.
Right, but our hearts are troubled. People's hearts are troubled. People's hearts are afraid. The same way the disciples were dealing with that particular fear. We're dealing with it too. Read.
Verse 28. You have heard how I said unto you, I go away, and come again unto you. If you loved me, ye would rejoice, because I said, I go unto the Father, for my Father is greater than I. And now I have told you before it come to pass, that when it come to pass, you might believe. Hereafter, I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh, and had nothing in me.
Right. So Yeshaya said, listen, the prince of this world is coming. So the same way Yeshaya dealt with his temptation when he left, he understood that the disciples would deal with that with that form of temptation also. And read that again, that last part.
Verse 30. Hereafter I would not. Verse 20, I'm going to start at 29. It says, and now I have told you before it come to pass, that when it come to pass, you might believe. Hereafter I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh, and had nothing in me.
Right. So he said, the prince of this world, he don't have anything in me. He don't have any righteousness in me. But he's going to come and take that which I've sowed in you away. And that's what Satan is doing to our people. Okay, people who don't, this is why we can't even relate to the Most High in Christ. We can't even relate to anything righteous, because they haven't really taught us anything. They diluted the different religions, or they diluted the truth rather about the Most High in Christ. So therefore we can't even relate to that. Okay, read.
Verse 31. But that the world may know that I love the Father, and as the Father gave me commandment, even so I do. Arise, let us go hence.
Okay, let's move on. Let's get Colossians 3rd chapter. Colossians 3, and let's start from verse 1.
Colossians chapter 3, verse 1. If you then be risen with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ sitteth on the right hand of the Most High.
Right, but we're not taught to seek the Spirit. We're not taught to seek righteousness. We're not taught to seek those things that are above. We're taught in this society to seek physical things, to seek carnal things, to seek materialistic things. So by us, that's all we know. So by us not being taught that, we don't really know, we can't really relate to anything else except the society and this world that we live in. We know very little, or we know now, but before we got the truth, we really didn't know anything about our culture, about our nationality, our existence, about God's chosen people. We didn't know about any of those things. And those are some of the things that when we heard brothers preaching and teaching about those things, those were some of the things that gave us the hope, that put the fire back in us again and made us want to live again. Because a lot of us was at the verge of just giving up on life, giving up on the society, not understanding why we were suffering and going through some of the things that we were going through. And that's why we ran towards the drugs and ran towards the liquor. And they saw that and they was like, yeah, let's keep them on this. Let's keep drugging them. Okay, read.
Verse 2. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. For you are dead, and your life is hid with Christ in the Most High.
Right. And our life is supposed to be hid with Yeshua through baptism. But that's a problem we have too. We don't want to lose our life. A lot of us are still holding on. We're still holding on to the dream. But everybody's not going to get an opportunity to fulfill the dream. And because a lot of us don't get an opportunity to fulfill the dream, and we miss out on the dream, we take the fantasy. And in fantasy, once again, it's in the bottle, it's in the liquor, it's in the drugs, it's in the narcotics. That's what we settle for because we can't handle real life. We couldn't handle why couldn't I make it in this society? Why couldn't I get the shot? And we don't know how to deal with it. That everybody doesn't get it. Only very few gets it. So that causes us to kind of lean towards wanting to do with pharmaceutical products. All right, read.
Verse 4. When Christ, who is our life, shall appear, then shall ye also appear with him in glory.
Mm-hmm.
Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affections, evil concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry.
Mm-hmm.
For which things' sake the wrath of the Most High cometh on the children of disobedience.
Read.
In the which ye also walked sometimes when you lived in them. But now you also put off all these: anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mouth. Lie not one to another, seeing ye have put off the old man.
Right, and a lot of us haven't put off the old man. We haven't put off the worldly man. This society taught us to have these particular vices or characteristics. And we have to put these things off in order to come back to a sensible state of mind. Because right now we are insane, dealing with all these particular situations. Okay, read.
Verse 10. And have put on a new man, which is renewed in knowledge, after the image of him that created
right,
him.
and that's what we have to be. We have to be renewed in the knowledge after the image of him that created us, after the image of the Most High. We have to be renewed in that knowledge, but we constantly find ourselves being renewed in the world. As soon as you get your high school diploma, they want you to get a college degree. As soon as you get a college degree, they want you to get 2 years over abroad doing this or doing that. They want you to have all these different certificates. They have you pursuing all these different things. And then when you get it, you still can't get what you want. You still can't become a part of the society. So what do? By you not being able to deal with that, what do? You start dealing with anxiety now. You start dealing with depression. You start having these mood swings. You start drinking. And this is why our brothers and our sisters are in the clubs, in the bars on the weekends. It's a cycle because we don't have a way out. We don't know how to get out. Physically, we don't know how to get out. We don't know how to get out spiritually. We don't know how to get out socially. So what do we have? I need a sedative just to deal with this. And we start, taking pills. Pills seems to be the new thing for some apparent reason. That seems to, over the past couple of years, it seems as if taking over-the-counter products has been a new thing. Read.
Verse 11. Where there is neither Greek nor Jew, circumcision nor uncircumcision, barbarian, Scythian, bond nor free, but Christ is all in all. Put on therefore as the elect of the Most High, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering, forbearing one another, and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye.
That's right.
And above all these things, put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness. And let the peace of the Most High rule in your hearts.
Right, and that's what we got to do. We got to let the peaceful state of the Most High rule in our hearts, and that's what we're not doing. The Most High is not ruling in our hearts. If the Most High was ruling in our hearts, we would have a different characteristics about ourselves. We would have a different standpoint, a different outlook and view on life. But because we're not governing our lives by righteousness, we can't relate to nothing else but the life of sin that we've been dealing with. Okay, let's get Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter. Touch a little more on about the condition that we're in and why we don't understand what's going on. And as long as our people continue to stay ignorant and continue not to accept what we're supposed to be doing and accept the responsibility of us changing and us living and governing our lives according to the Most High commandments, we're going to stay in this state. And we're going to always be reliant on on narcotics to help us just ease the tension and help us just try to just deal with it. 30, and let's start from verse 1.
Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations.
Right, and that's this is actually really going on too. The Most High brought curses upon our people, and our people know that something is wrong. People know that something is wrong in their life. They know that something, and they see that something is wrong in society. That, listen, life is not supposed to be like this. Something is wrong. We already know that, but we're still not relating to it from a spiritual aspect, from a spiritual point. When we don't realize that, yeah, you're in this condition because you're the Most High's chosen people, and you broke his laws, his statutes, and his commandments. Or those of the other nations that find themselves in certain predicaments and certain situations. It's because they're not governing their lives according to righteousness. All right, read.
Verse 2. And shall return unto the Most High thy power, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day.
That's what he wants us to do. Return unto him and obey his voice according to everything that we've been commanded to do. Read.
Thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul.
Not just us, but also our children. So we have to teach these principles to our children. We have to teach this understanding to our kids. And this is why a lot of times, a lot of kids, they don't understand. They grow up living this lifestyle and this repetitive cycle of just going through the same thing that their parents went through because nobody's teaching them. Nobody's informing them about the real reality of life. Read.
Verse 3. That then the Most High thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee.
Right. That's how the Most High is going to turn our captivity. This is how we're going to get alleviated of the stress and the insane mental state that we're in. It's only going to happen one way. It's not going to happen any other way. You can have $1 million and still not be happy and still notice that something is missing. That's why a lot of millionaires and people who are rich, they still seek some form of spirituality even when they have the money, because there's something that our spirit identifies with a incompleteness. We have all the materialistic things, but it's something that we're still missing. I don't have that solitude. I don't have that peace. And they may not deal with Christianity. They might run to Buddha, or deal with some East Indian religions. But they know that some form of spirituality is missing. Okay, read.
And will return and gather thee from all nations whither the Most High thy power hath scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the outermost parts of heaven, from thence will the Most High thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. Verse 5. And the Most High thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. And he will do thee good, and multiply thee above thy fathers. And the Most High thy power will circumcise thine heart, in the heart of thy seed, to love the Most High thy power with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And the Most High thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee.
Right. So the Most High said he would put these curses upon our enemies, and he would lift them off of us and put them upon our enemies. Okay, read.
Which persecuted thee. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Most High, and do all his commandments which I command thee this day. And the Most High thy power will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand. Right,
and because right now we're not benefiting in the things that we're doing. We're not benefiting from none of the things, none of the contributions, none of the time and labor that we put into this society. We haven't benefited from it. None of us. After building America, building the other nations, all the inventions and all the things that we add to society, where do we benefit from that? The nation of Israel, we don't. Everybody else benefit. Read.
In the fruit of the body, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land.
Right. So the Most High said he would increase everything. We wouldn't have anything to worry about. And it's because we're in this condition that we worry about everything. Because we don't have these things. This is where the stress and the anxiety is coming from, because we're worrying about how we're going to, how we're going to live, how we're going to pay the mortgage, how we're going to pay the car note, how we're going to send the kids to private school, How are we going to maintain and manage these things? So we need an outlet. Here you go. Here go the kilos. Here go the quaaludes. This is your outlet. And it just causes us to be in this repetitive state to constantly chase a dream. You know, I don't understand how you get paid on Friday and then you broke Monday morning. But that's what we do. Work all week to get paid on Friday, blow our money on drugs Friday night and Saturday night, on the Sabbath too, at that. And then Monday morning, we don't have bus fare to get to work. It's a cycle. Read.
For the Most High will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers.
Right. So that's what we need. We need the Most High to take pleasure in us again and to rejoice over us for good. And this is what we need to understand collectively as a people. Read.
Verse 10. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Most High thy power to keep his commandments and his statutes which are written in this book of the law, and if thou turn unto the Most High thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul, for this commandment which I command thee this day, it is not hidden from thee, neither is it afar off.
Right, it's right here. Everything we need is in the Bible. The keys, the key to our health, the key to our healing is contained in the Bible, but nobody really wants to read it and believe it and rely on it. Let's move on. Let's get Baruch the first chapter in the Apocrypha. Baruch, let's start from verse 13. We're going to go to 22. We're going to jump around through Baruch 1, 2, 3, and 4.
All right. 1 and 13.
I want to get more on why we're in this condition, why we're in this mental state, why are we in this position where we have to rely and depend on drugs rather than the Most High. Okay, let's start from 1 and 13.
Baruch chapter 1 verse 13. Pray for us also unto the Most High our power, for we have sinned against the Most High our power. And unto this day the fury of the Most High in his wrath is not turned from us.
Right, that's what's going on with our people. The fury of the Most High is upon us. It's upon our people. And this is what we don't understand. If we would understand this, it would alleviate some of the mental anguish and stress that we're feeling and dealing with in our daily lives. And like I said, we won't have to deal with the pharmaceutical products if we come back and return to the Most High and realize why we're in this state. Right?
Verse 14. And ye shall read this book which we have sent unto you to make confession in the house of the Most High upon the feasts and solemn days. And ye shall say to the Most High our power, belongeth righteousness. To the Most High our power belongeth righteousness. But unto us the confusion of faces, see
that? So righteousness belongs to the Most High, but to us, because we're not keeping his laws, his statutes, and commandments, we have confusion of faces. And you see that the countenance of our people, you can just look at them. Those who are in the states, you can look and see the disparity, they're just tired, depressed, like no hope, like it's nothing left. And this is why our people behave the way that they behave, because we feel like we don't have everything to lose, nothing to lose. But we have everything to lose. We have a heritage to lose. That's what we're losing. And the longer we stay in this state, the longer it takes us to get back to where we belong at. Read.
Verse 15. And ye shall say to the Most High our power belongeth righteousness, but unto us the confusion of faces, as it is come to pass this day unto them of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and to our kings, and to our princes, and to our priests, and to our prophets, and to our fathers. For we have sinned before the Most High, and disobeyed him.
Right, and that's what we try to tell our people when we out there teaching and speaking, and dealing with this knowledge and information. We try to get them to understand, listen, we're in this condition because we disobeyed the Most High. Read.
Verse 17, for we have sinned before the Most High, and disobeyed him, and have not hearkened unto the voice of the Most High our power, to walk in his commandments that he gave us openly. Since the day that the Most High brought our forefathers out of the land of Egypt unto this present day, we have been disobedient unto the Most High our power.
Right. When we out there teaching, we go into the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, to try to get brothers and sisters to relate that we were the people who were in Egypt. Read.
And we have been negligent in not hearing his voice.
So we've been negligent. The same way our forefathers was negligent, we've been negligent, and we're still negligent, a lot of us today, by not hearing his voice, by not respecting the covenant that he made with our forefathers. We're under authority. And you know, we don't know because we're not taught. And then when we're taught it, a lot of times we don't want to embrace it because either we don't want to believe it, or we just, you know, feel that it's something that is too complicated and difficult for us to change our life and make the change and try to adapt to how the Most High wants us to live. And a lot of us just settle and we just stay the way that we are. Read.
And we have been negligent in not hearing his voice. Wherefore, verse 20, wherefore the evils cleave unto us, and the curse which the Most High appointed by Moses his servant.
Right, and that's why we're in the condition that we're in, because this evil, the punishment, the curses, they're cleaving to us. And they're not going to let us go. We're going to always be upon these curses until we change our hearts and change our minds and do that which is acceptable in the sight of the Most High. Read.
At the time that he brought our fathers out of the land of Egypt to give us a land that flowed with milk and honey, like as it is to see this day. Nevertheless, we have not hearkened unto the voice of the Most High our power, according unto all the words of the prophets whom he sent unto us. But every man followed the imagination of his own wicked heart, to serve strange gods, and to do evil in the sight of the Most High our power.
And that's our conclusion. We want to just do what we want to do, serve our own heart. After we break down all this information, the brothers and sisters, that's the conclusion they draw to before they say, wait a minute, let me get myself together and kind of see if we can, you know, change the tide and the course, you know, of our life. They won't do that because a lot of people, they don't want to put the time into it, but you got to put the time into it. We didn't get here overnight, so it's not going to be an overnight process for us to revive ourselves and to restore ourselves. It's going to take time, and we're going to have to stay in that state. You're going to have to stay in that state of depression or anxiety or hardship or suffering until the Most High decides that he want to lift the curses off you on an individual. As an individual, a lot of times we really can't digest that. We rather just continue to do what we're doing. You understand? And you just look for an outlet. Run to the bottle. Run to the pharmacy. We'd rather just do that instead. Okay, let's go into. Oh, the video is freezing. One moment, please.
Turn this Wi-Fi off.
Oh, I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Anybody got Wi-Fi's on right now? You got Wi-Fi on?
Let me make sure mine's is off. Okay, cut mine's off. Hope everything is fine now, brothers and sisters. We apologize for that. We cut the additional Wi-Fi receptions off, so we should just be running off of one line now. So let's move on. Let's go straight in the Baruch, the 2nd chapter, and just get a few verses out of there. So the Most High told Moses that, listen, if they don't keep my laws, my statutes and commandments, I'm going to curse these people. I'm going to punish them. All right. And like, as I said before, this the knowledge and the information that we try to share with brothers and sisters so it can help their mental state. I know it worked. It worked for me. I was good as going. I was in the streets, and my mom brought me in. My mom heard the knowledge first and brought me in, trying to say, you know, a mother wanting to save her child's life. The same way a lot of you sisters out there have your sons and your daughters coming into the knowledge and listening to the information because you're trying to save their life. And that's what my mom did for me. She saved me. She brought me to the Most High. You know, we all escaped death
That's right.
several times. So I know I'm not supposed to be here. If I don't get it together, I know where I'm going. You know. So 2 and 1.
All right. First Baruch chapter 2 verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore the Most High had made good his word, which he pronounced against us and against our judges that judged Israel, and against our kings, and against our princes, and against the men of Israel and Judah.
So the Most High made good on his word. That's why we're going through what we're going through. That's why we're in this condition and this state that we're in. And if this information was taught a lot sooner to some of our brothers and sisters, maybe we wouldn't have got on different narcotics. Maybe I wouldn't have done all the things that I did as a juvenile, as a kid, if I would have got this knowledge sooner. But I got it when the Most High allowed me to receive it. Okay, read.
Verse 2. To bring upon us great plagues, such as never happened under the whole heaven, as it came to pass in Jerusalem, according to the things that were written in the law of Moses.
Right. Let's go to verse 27. I want to go through this. 27, yeah, verse 27.
Verse 27.
Mm-hmm.
O Most High, our power, thou hast dealt with us after all thy goodness, and according to all that great mercy of thine, as thou speakest by thy servant Moses in a day when thou didst command him to write thy law before the children of Israel, saying, if ye would not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall turn into a small number among the nations.
Right, and that's what happened. It was millions of us. But now, instead of us being in one particular area, now we're scattered out throughout the four corners of the earth in small clusters, being pillaged and robbed, taken advantage of, oppressed, killed, murdered, having all these experiences, and we don't understand why. Like, what's going on? Why? You know, a lot of people ask, because I know I asked this question when I was young. You know, when I first got old enough to understand what was going on, I asked my mom, I'm like, listen, like, what's going on? Why is the world like this? You know, I needed answers, you know? And, you know, my mom tried her best to tell me, you know, she put it more or less on racism. You understand what I'm saying? You know, we're living in a society where, you know, we go through racism and stuff like that, you know, but it's because we're cursed, because we're the Most High's chosen people. He gave us standards. He gave us rules and regulations that we're not living by, and he's punishing us. Okay, read.
Verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves.
That's what we're doing now. We're remembering now. We're reflecting now. Something in our spirit is crying and groaning out. Like, look, something is wrong. I know it's not supposed to be like this. I got to figure this thing out, because I can't take much more. You understand? And this is why, you know, all due respect to those who I don't want to say that, but, you know, this is why a lot of people, you know, deal with suicidal thoughts and stuff like that, because they can't handle it. And the ones that go that direction, the ones who don't go that direction, rather, they're the ones that end up dealing with the drugs. They need an antidepressant now, so they start getting hooked on these drugs and doing different things. Okay, read.
Verse 31. And shall know that I am the Most High their power, for I gave them an heart and ears to hear, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name.
Right, and that's what we're doing, thinking upon the name of the Most High. We're hearing, we're listening to him, we're repenting, we're getting ourselves together, we're getting baptized, so people all are waking up. But it's the hardship that caused us to wake up. And if it wasn't for the Most High afflicting us, a lot of us would be asleep. But he chastised those whom he loved to get us to wake up, to get us to see that something is wrong, that we need to get ourselves together so we can change this tide. Read.
Verse 33. And return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds. For they shall remember the way of their forefathers, which have sinned before the Most High. And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they shall be lords over it. And I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them, to be their power. And they shall be my people. And I will no more drive my people out of Israel, out of the land that I have given them.
Right, and that's what we should be looking for and anticipating, all of us. This is the hope and the faith and the patience of the saints, knowing that, listen, we're not going to be in this condition and this state much longer. The Most High does want to lift us up. That's his intention. That's the plan. So we do have a plan. Y'all looking for a plan? Return unto the Most High. That's the plan. Because nothing else is working. I mean, we tried dealing with things from the political perspective, and that hasn't really yielded any real tangible benefits. You know, I don't want to compromise. Listen, I don't want the 40 acres in the mule, because I'm supposed to get more than that. I want the earth. I want what's rightfully mine and ours. You can keep the 40 acres in the mule. I don't want it. Let's go on to 3.
All right. Baruch chapter 3, verse 1. O Most High Almighty, power of Israel, the soul is anguish. The troubled spirit cried unto thee.
And that's what's going on right now. Our soul is in anguish right now. And our spirit is troubled, and we're crying. We're crying. We're crying out the best way we can. And a lot of us just, you know, we don't have any other outlet. That's been the norm. You know, our fathers, we've seen our fathers hit the bottle. So a lot of us grow up being second generation drinkers and hanging out in the bars. You know, we've seen our mothers and fathers dealing with different controlled substances, and it seemed to alleviate some of that stress and pressure. So we think, you know, maybe we should do it. You know, I guess it was something that was just, you know, mental when I used to smoke cigarettes. You know, you smoke a cigarette and you feel like it kind of alleviates the stress and the pressure. But I guess it was all in my mind, because I sit back and I think about it and I say, you know, why did I do that? You know, I didn't need that, because I deal with anxiety and stress now, and I don't go smoke a cigarette. So we can actually, we don't have to become reliant on these controlled substances and these drugs. You know, like what I guess what the cigarettes and the drugs and the liquor used to do for me, the Holy Spirit do for me now. I feel confident, and I take comfort in her, knowing who I am, knowing my nationality, my culture, knowing that the Most High is going to uplift our people again, knowing that this the way that the world is, that it's going to change, it's going to be different. I just need to be patient, and if I meet my demise in that state that I know I'm going to raise again, I think about my son. I think about his kids. You understand? So we have to make the sacrifice now. A lot of times, people don't want to do that. They don't want to sacrifice their life now for the betterment of the next generation. You know, we can be really selfish, and that's something that we have to examine about ourselves. So let's move on.
Verse 2. Hear, O Most High, and have mercy, for thou art merciful, and have pity upon us, because we have sinned before thee. For thou endurest forever, and we perish utterly. O Most High, Almighty, thou power of Israel, hear now the prayers of the dead Israelites, and of their children, which have sinned before thee, and not hearken to the voice of thee, their power. For the which cause these plagues cleave unto us. Remember not the iniquities of our forefathers, but think upon thy power in thy name, now at this time. For thou art the Most High, our power. In thee, O Most High, will we praise. And for this cause thou hast put thy fear in our hearts, to the intent that we should call upon thy name.
And that's what the Most High had to do. The Most High got to put the fear in our hearts. And a lot of time he do that with a bad situation. I know he put the fear in my heart. You know, when I first came into the truth, I had got involved in like an armed robbery situation. These guys, they were going to kill me. You know, and that kind of did it for me. I was straight. I was in class that following Sabbath. You know, that's what it takes. That's what it took. Because it would. Other than that, I still would have just been out there doing what I was doing. You know, but when your life is on the line and your life flashing before you, and you seeing your family and your kids, and you reliving those last moments, look, you change. You know, and that's what it takes for us. Unfortunately, it takes for us to have a near-death experience. Read.
And praise thee in our captivity. For we have called to mind all the iniquity of our forefathers that sinned before thee. Verse 8, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us, for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers.
So we're being reproached, and we're dealing with the curses, and we're subject to payments. That's stressful right there, having to meet these different financial obligations. You don't know where the money coming from, you know, and you have to go out there and you know, commit different unrighteous acts a lot of times. You understand? Sometimes to make ends meet, and this stuff causes pressure, and it causes stress, and you know, and it just, you know, it causes us to trying to, you know, find a way out. How do I deal with my life in this state, in this condition? Like, what do I do? You know, and we always look for that temporary relief instead of looking for the permanent relief, and that's resting in this knowledge and this truth. Nothing else can really give it to you, or nothing else can really take it completely away but the truth. That's why it's interesting too, because that's why Yeshua, I see why he made the statement that the truth should make you free. Because it does, it frees you. You don't necessarily deal with all those responsibilities. You don't, I mean, you deal with them, but you don't feel that you don't stress over it. You don't let it kill you. You don't let it give you a heart attack and a stroke. You understand? And those things have killed so many of our people, because we let the stress and the pressure of having to meet these deadlines and these demands and stuff from bill collectors, you understand, and landlords, we let it kill. It killed us. A lot of people died. Okay, read.
According to all the iniquities of our fathers which departed from the Most High power. Verse 9, hear, Israel, the commandments of life. Give ear to understand wisdom. How happened it, Israel, that thou art in thine enemy's land, that thou art waxing old in a strange country?
Right. How did this happen? How did we get in this state? How did we get here? Waxing old in our enemy's land and in a strange country. A lot of us not even dying in our homeland. Everybody wants to, you understand, go back and if you want to meet your demise, you want to meet it in your homeland, not someplace else, not out in the street somewhere. Read.
That thou art defiled with the dead, that thou art counted with them that go down into the grave. Thou hast forsaken the fountain of wisdom. For if thou hadst walked in the way of the Most High, thou shouldest have dwelled in peace forever.
Right. We would have always been in a peaceful state. We would have had our own vineyard, our own land, our own sepulchres to bury our dead in. Now we're dealing with all these different stress and pressures because we sinned against the Most High. Read on.
Verse 14. Learn where is wisdom, where is strength, where is understanding, that thou mayest know also where is length of days and life.
Right. That's what we haven't figured out yet. We don't know where strength of days at. And we don't know where life is at. We think life is in the world. We think this is life. We think that this is living. We think that this is how, it's supposed to be. But it's wrong. This life is not a real life. It's temporary. All this stuff is going to fade away. We used to have our own. We had our own everything. We didn't have to rely on the other nations. We didn't have to rely on this system because we had our own cattle, our own land. We had our own. We was planting and building our own fruits and vegetables, living on our own land. But now we don't have these things, and it's just stress and pressure trying to maintain and manage these things. Let's move on. Let's get Luke the 4th chapter. Come back to that. Excuse me. Luke 4, and let's start from verse 1.
Luke chapter 4, verse 1. And Yeshua, being full of the Holy Spirit, returned from Jordan, and was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, being 40 days tempted of the devil.
So Yeshua, after getting baptized, he was led into the wilderness to prepare himself for for ministry, and he was tempted, okay, by Satan during this period. The same temptation that we go through. The society, Satan tempts us in this society with materialistic things, with this life. He offered the same life he offered Yeshua. He's offering us that life too. And then he took all this time from that point on. He took all this time to build this life and to perfect this life, to have us desire it, to have us rely and depend on it. So we think this is the life. Like we really think that this is how we're supposed to be living. You tell somebody they're not supposed to be living this kind of life and they have to give up their pursuits, they can't relate to that. And then when they don't get it, they still can't relate to it and can't understand it. They spend all their time pursuing it and seeking after it. And then when they don't get it, you understand, it does something to them mentally. And they can't cope with it. So then what happens? Here's the bottle. Here's the drugs. Here's the pharmaceutical products. Just get away for a while. That's why, I'm not into vacations. I don't know why. Because it's temporary. It's temporary. I know for some people it helps. I don't want to be a hater, but I can't go away for 2 weeks and then come back. You understand what I'm saying? And then come back to the same situation. That's depressing. You understand? To me, if I go away, I might not come back. You understand? I want to go there and I want to stay there and I want to live that life. Don't give it to me for 2 weeks. It's not an attack on y'all sisters. I know y'all like to go to the spa, and I guess it helps, but it doesn't seem like it would do anything for me. I've tried it, and it's just like, no, I done spent a couple of $1,000, and I still come back ranting. Excuse me, but let's read on.
Verse 2. Being 40 days tempted of the devil, and in those days he did eat nothing. And when they were ended, he afterward hungered. And the devil said unto him, If thou be the Son of the Most High, command this stone that it be made bread. And Yeshua answered him, saying, It is written, that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of the Most High.
Right. So Yeshua answered Satan, listen, we just can't live by bread alone. We just can't live by materialistic means. We can't just live by physical carnal substance. We have to live according to the way the Most High says that we need to live too. We need to live according to the word. And that's what a lot of times we don't want to deal with. And we want to live more according to this society. We always leaning towards this world because that's all we ever know. This world is killing us. It's through this world that we're meeting our demise. It's through this world that we can't relate to the Most High. Okay, read.
Verse 5. And the devil taking him up into the high mountain, showed unto him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said unto him, All this power will I give thee, and the glory of them. For that is delivered unto me.
You see that? So this world was given to Satan. All power, all glory, materialistic wealth, it was given to Satan. Read.
Verse 7. Oh, it says, for that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever what I give it.
Right. Good point. And he also had the authority and the power to give it to whoever he wanted to give it to. But you got to sell out to do it.
Yep.
And then know what you got to do. You have to neglect your power. That's what you really have to do. You have to neglect the Most High to get these things in most cases. Especially if you want it in abundance. And if you want it the way Satan is going to give it to you, you definitely going to have to neglect the Most High or forsake the Most High. Because the same way Yeshua is not going to have you sit at both tables, Satan not either. You're going to have to make, he's going to sit you down too.
Yep.
Read.
Verse 7. If thou therefore would worship me, all shall be thine. And Yeshua answered and said unto him, get thee behind me, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Most High thy power, and him only shalt thou serve.
Right, and that's what we need to understand. We need to understand that we need to worship the Most High and serve him. But no, what do? We worship ourselves. We deal with idol worship. We worship our cars, our houses, clothing. We worship and revere everything else except the Most High. And that's why we're in the state that we're in, because materialistic things, stuff that has no tangible substance, no real need. There's no real necessity for those things. All we need is food, raiment, and shelter. That's it. But we find ourselves in pursuing of all those other things. And once again, when we don't get them, we don't know how to handle it. We can't deal with it. I remember not wanting to go to school because I didn't have certain sneaks on. I didn't have certain pair of jeans. I remember those days. I was delirious. You understand? Like, why would I let those things affect me from getting an education? But I did. It's crazy. Let's move on. Let's get Lamentations, the 4th chapter. I'm sorry, let's get Isaiah 31 first. Let's get Isaiah 30 chapter first. I switched to Isaiah. You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
I'm sorry. And then a lot of people can't function now. We're at the point now where people can't even function without this stuff. They call them functioning addicts. A lot of us nowadays. Yeah. A lot of people just can't function unless they have a drink or have this to start their day or that to start their day. And, Isaiah 30 and 1. Okay.
Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, said the Most High, that take counsel, but not of me.
Right. So the Most High says, woe to these brothers and sisters or individuals who take counsel, but not of him. They're dealing with knowledge, they're dealing with information, but it's not coming from him. They're getting guidance and advice, but it's not coming from him. Read.
And that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit.
Right. And they cover with the covering, but not of his spirit. And this is what we do. We deal with different counsel, different advice, when we're under these different influences. We're covering, we're substituting. And the Most High is a jealous power. We can't substitute. We got to give it all to him. It has to be all about him. Okay, read.
But not of my spirit, that they may add sin unto sin.
Right, that's all we're really doing is just further putting ourselves in a degradative state. That's all we're really doing is digging a hole. That's all we're really doing. Never really growing, never prospering, never seeing what the Most High wants us to see, never doing what he requires of us to do. What's more on that? Okay, let's get Lamentations. Lamentations 4 and start from verse 13. This is the condition and the state that we're in because we refuse to turn into the Most High. This is why we're having the experiences that we're having and dealing with everything that we're dealing with. And this is the information, this is the knowledge that brothers and sisters need. This is what the world needs. But people don't want to, for some reason, they don't want to embrace it. They don't want to believe it. They don't want to deal with it. You got it?
Yeah.
4 and 13.
Lamentations chapter 4, verse 13. For the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests that have shed the blood of the just in the midst of her. They have wandered as blind men in the streets. They have polluted themselves with blood, so that men could not touch their garments. They cried unto them, Depart ye, it is unclean. Depart, depart, touch not. When they fled away and wandered, they said among the heathen, They shall no more sojourn here, sojourn there. The anger of the Most High had divided them. He will no more regard them. They respect not the persons of the priests. They favor not the elders.
Right. So we didn't have any respect for anything, for none of our priests, none of the knowledge of the Most High. Just like our people today, we don't have any respect for correction. We're sitting here telling people, listen, this is your way out. This is what you got to do to change your life and to get it together. And we don't want that. We rather, it's like the scriptures talks about, we're in an agreement with hell. Knowing we're going to hell, knowing that the life we're living is going to end up in prison, or we're going to end up dead. But that we still just blindly just go in that direction. Read.
Verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that cannot save us.
And that's what we do. We believe in this society, and we're still believing in a nation. We're still believing in this construct, and it's not going to save us. It hasn't done anything for us but further dug us a hole. The more and more we go into this world, the further and further we separate ourselves from the Most High. And we haven't figured it out yet. And we brothers and sisters have to figure it out. They gotta figure it out. They gotta try to figure out, how do I know I gotta survive, I know I gotta work and things like that, continue to do that. But everything else about this society, until it falls and collapses, don't even deal with it. Separate yourself from it. That's what you gotta do. We can't touch anything and do anything that's unclean or wicked, perverse, whatever the case may be. We got to do that. Listen, go to work and go home. That's it. Go shop for your fruits and vegetables and go home. That's what we need to do. Anything else, it's temptation. We find ourselves, you understand, being persuaded, being swayed, being enticed with advertisement and things like that. Anything else it's a detriment. It's a danger to our souls. All right. Come on, that.
Verse 18. They hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled. For our end is come.
Right. That's it on that. Let's get Jeremiah the 8th chapter. Sorry. Come on. Start from verse 18.
Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 18. When I will comfort myself against sorrow, my heart is faint in me. Behold the voice of the cry of the daughter of my people, because of them that dwell in a far country. Is not the Most High in Zion? Is not her king in her? Why have they provoked me to anger with their graven images and with strange vanities? The harvest is past, the summer is ended, and we are not saved.
Right, and this is what a lot of people can't understand. A lot of people are looking at the prophecies and they see certain things occurring in society, and people are wondering why they haven't been delivered. But when you read Jeremiah 5:25, it talks about how the Most High have withholding. It says that our iniquities have withholding good things from us. So a lot of times we're looking for this deliverance, and we're looking to, to be delivered from certain situations, but we haven't came all the way. We haven't made the commitment yet. The Most High says, "Return unto me, and I shall return unto you." We want it the other way around. We want the Most High to make good first. You understand? Nah. Who's the power? Me or you? I'm supposed to just constantly listen. I gave you breath this morning. What more do I have to do? Most High gave us breath. We gotta make good. We gotta make good on the rest. We have to bow and submit and examine ourselves and make the change first. Then you understand he'll deliver us and do what he need to do. Read.
Verse 21. For the hurt of the daughter of my people am I hurt. I am black. Astonishment had taken hold of.
Right. So Jeremiah was talking about the pain and the anguish that he saw in Jerusalem, that he saw amongst our brothers and our sisters, the same pain that we see amongst our people. And you want to do something to help them. You want to do something to heal them. That's why the prophets they overextended themselves to try to reach us, to get us to see what was going on. The same way we do it. The same way the elders overextend themselves and put everything that they have into their studies, into their lessons, to try to get people to just stop for a minute and think and reflect on what they're doing. And people, it's like they still don't do it. They don't see it. Read.
Verse 22. Is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there?
Right. So is there no balm in Gilead? Is there what's the remedy? Like, what's going to heal us? What is it going to take for us to snap out of it and get ourselves together? What is it going to take? Because I guess if you look at this modern wise, we got there's narcotics in our communities, it's medications and stuff like that in our communities. But that's not doing anything for us. That's not healing us. Not doing anything for our spirits and our souls. Read that again.
Verse 22. Is there no balm in Gilead?
Mm-hmm.
Is there no physician there?
Mm-hmm.
Why then is not the health of the daughter of my people recovered?
Right. So why haven't we recovered? Why are we still in the condition that we're in? Why are we relying on narcotics and different pharmaceutical products to alleviate the stress and the tensions and the pressures of life that we're dealing with? Why is that? Where's the physician at? The physician is Yeshaya. The balm is these scriptures. Us returning back to righteousness. And that's what we got to keep pushing to our brothers and sisters. Self-examination, repentance, change. That's what we got to do. So we can start the recovery process. That's what we have to do. We at some point in time, this process has to start. All right. Let's get Isaiah, the first chapter. Isaiah 1, and let's start from verse 2.
Isaiah chapter 1, verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Most High has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me.
So the Most High says, listen, I nourished you, and I brought y'all up. I raised y'all. I gave you life. I blew breath in you. I nourished you. Give you life every time you wake. I thank the Most High every time I get up in the morning. Got to thank him. You got to appreciate that, because that's another opportunity you have to get yourself together, to worship, to serve him, to spend with your family, spend with your husband, your wife, your children. It's another opportunity that I just have to embrace life. I appreciate it. Read.
Verse 3. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel do not know. My people do not consider.
Right. So the Most High says, listen, animals can identify with things. The animal know how to get home. He know who his owner is. But we don't have any respect. We don't consider none of those things. Like those thoughts never enter into our mind that we have a father. We act like we're orphans. Like there's nobody, we're like nobody care about us. And we just freestyling our way through life. But we do have somebody that care about us. Okay, read.
Verse 4. A sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Most High. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward.
That's what we did. We're backwards. Backwards. We do everything backwards. I understand that. My mom used to say that a lot to me. You know, like, you're behind backwards. And I was like, what's she talking about? What does she mean, you're backwards? Behind backwards. But now I can relate. You know, that's how the Most High, you know, my mom felt like that about me. The Most High feel like that about me sometimes. We got to get it together. You know, we have, you know, we can change that. We can change. Let's work on changing the Most High outlook on us. Let's work on that. Let's work on, you know, I want him to, you know, I want him to say something good about me sometimes. You know, instead of always, you know, putting our sin out. You know, it said that we're laden with iniquity. Layers of sin. Darn, how can you have layers of sin on you? But that's what we have, layers. Darn. They don't need to do no carbon testing on us, do they? All right. What's more on that? Oh, that's it. Okay, let's move. Let's get Jeremiah the 9th chapter. No, not Jeremiah 9th. Let's move on. Let's read this commentary. I haven't read commentary in a while. I apologize for that.
It says, sometimes the things we care for out of this world, which we see as a paramount, in a larger scale of things, are less important than we make them, and we experience unhealthy levels of anxiety in order to obtain them. Sometimes we also let the little uncomfortable things that happen along the path become the focus of our life, which becomes an obsession, and we can become self-absorbed to a degree we forget the importance of focusing on the things which are pure and can help our minds to be kept at peace.
Let's get Psalms the 40th chapter. Yeah, we miss it. We miss all the things that can help us just relax and be at peace. You know. Everybody want to quote the scripture where the Most High said, "Give a man strong drink to bear his infirmities." We need to examine that, because that you know, now we're drinking heavy. Or this scripture. You know, I'm trying to deal with my life right now and deal with things. Most I did say it, you know, and now we're drunkards now, you know, and then leaning on scripture to support it. That's not what the Most I was talking about. He wanted you to just to have a little wine, just to relax, just to mellow out, not being a drunken stupor, you know. I said Psalms 40, right? Okay, let's start from verse 1.
Psalm chapter 40, verse 1. I have waited patiently for the Most High, and he inclined unto me and heard my cry.
You see that? So David was like, listen, I waited patiently for the Most High, and he inclined to me and heard my cry. And that's what we need to do a lot of times. A lot of times we don't wait patiently. You know, we get irritable, you know, and then when the Most High, you know, he does things when he want to do it. You understand? He don't do things when you want him to all the time, or when you expect him to. He takes his time, you understand, and he do things at his own pace. And we lose patience in that. And what do? We want to run to the bottle. We want to run, you know, to the medicine cabinet and try to, you know, deal with the stress and the pressures of the Most High not moving fast enough.
Read verse 2. He brought me up out He brought me up also out of the horrible pit,
Hmm.
out of the miry clay.
Right. So it's the Most High that lifted David up out of these different conditions that he was in. And it's going to be the Most High to lift us up. Okay? That's who should be lifting us up. Not you understand? We don't need to take pills to lift us up. Let the Spirit lift us up. That's what we need to do. That's the lift up, the lift we need. All right? Read.
And set my feet upon a rock and established my goings.
Mm-hmm.
And he had put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our power. Many shall see it and fear and shall trust in the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
That's it on that.
Right. And when people see what the Most High have done for you, maybe that'll inspire them to want to change their life and get themselves together, because it takes time. And everybody's looking for the quick fix. And that's why people are doing these different drugs and stuff and narcotics. But they're looking for the quick fix. And it's not going to be a quick fix. All right? Can we read verse 4?
Yeah, verse 4. Blessed is the man that maketh the Most High his trust.
Right. So blessed is the man that make the Most High his trust. That's what we have to do. Trust in the Most High. Not trust in ourselves. Not trust in the, in the bottle. And trust in the you understand, the other narcotics and things that we deal with sometimes to help us, just bear our infirmities. Trust the Most High. All right, read.
And respect not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's sit on that. Let's read this commentary.
It says, we must remember there are so many things the Father has not allowed us to experience, which are far worse than our own life experiences we may be currently experiencing. It says, there were many that went through great hardships to follow the Father.
Right. So the Most High, he's been lenient, even though we've had some bad experiences. But through those bad experiences, the Most High still was lenient. He still showed mercy. He still showed grace. He still brought us through those situations. And we came through a lot of situations without having to deal with anything additional to help us maintain and manage it. It was just our faith, our hope, our belief, knowing that the Most High would get us through it. The same way the Most High has been getting us through situations now. Okay? And a lot of times we don't have anything to run to help us maintain and manage our mental state while we're going through what we're going through. We're used to just relying and being patient and having comfort and security in the Most High and the Holy Spirit. And in Yeshua, allowing Him to give us the strength that we need to deal with different things instead of running and dealing with artificial substances. Okay? More on that? Oh, I'm sorry. Let's get Romans the 15th chapter. Excuse me. So our support team and our support staff has to be the Most High. It has to be the Scriptures. And the sooner we figure that out, the sooner we can, different people can start that growth and development process. It's a process. Whether you want to, how you want to identify it, a one-step program, or you understand, because we bear our cross daily. That's what it's going to take. Take it day by day. You understand, and just build your faith and your confidence and your strength in the Most High and in His truth, versus relying on substance abuse. Okay, 12 and 15, right? 15. Let's start from verse 1.
Romans chapter 15, verse 1. We then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak.
Right, and that's what we have to do too. Family members, brothers and sisters, friends, etc. We have to start supporting one another. You know someone that's struggling with something and going through a situation. Try to give them the support that they need. We kind of for some reason we have a habit of always bashing people and beating them down and telling them just passing judgment on people, why they're doing this or why you're doing that, why you involved in this. Instead of us just trying to figure out a solution and figure out a way to help them in the system, a lot of times we don't do that. We just automatically attack them, and that's not what people need. I don't need to be attacked when I'm in this state, because that's going to drive me further into the life, or into the dealing with more substance abuse. Sit me down. Can you take another approach with me, instead of saying I told you so and look at you and all this other kind of stuff? We love to tear one another down. Love it. I don't know what we get from that, but it seems like we enjoy it. Instead of taking pleasure in supporting one another. Okay. It's more than that, right?
It says, we then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak, and not to please ourselves. Let every one of us please his neighbor, for his good to edification. For even Christ pleased not himself, but as it is written, the reproaches of them that reproacheth thee fell on me.
Right. Can we do that? Can we bear someone's burden? Can we bear their reproach? Can we do that? Or we're always concerned about ourselves? A lot of times we deal with really selfish spirits, always thinking about ourselves. Well, what's my benefit? How do I benefit by doing this? I'm taking a loss, helping you, dealing with you. And it's just, that's an evil way to look at things. And we have to examine ourselves when it comes to that. There's more on that?
Verse 4.
I think we're going to go to 8.
All right.
6, excuse me.
Verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
Right, so that's where our hope lies at. Our hope lies in this Bible. Our hope lies in the truth. It lies in the knowledge of the Most High. It lies in what's happening in the world right now. It lies in prophetics. Our hope doesn't rely on anything else. It doesn't rely on man. It relies on the Most High. Okay, read.
Verse 5. Now the Most High of patience and consolation grant you to be like-minded one towards another, according to Christ Yeshua, that ye may with one mind and one mouth glorify the Most High, even the Father of our Lord Yeshua Christ.
Right. We should all be in one mind, praising and serving the Most High. Let's get 2 Timothy's the second chapter. Because we give up too soon. I understand why the Most High, he was telling Ezra, the angel was telling Ezra, to put off the weak nature. Like we need to muscle up. We need to be men and be women. Be the strong men and women that we used to be, that our forefathers used to be. Our grandparents, they were strong. Our grandma and grandpa was strong. And there's a lot of grandparents that's still out there that's strong today too. Okay, but I remember, my grandparents were really strong. When my father passed away, I was 12. And my grandfather stepped in and he became my father. He really stepped in and did what he could do to try to keep me on the straight and narrow. You read Timothy's, right? Okay. 2 and 3.
2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 3. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yeshua Christ. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life.
Right, and that's what we have to do. We have to endure the hardness. We have to endure the hardship, the grief, the long suffering. We have to endure these things, and we can't get entangled with the affairs of this life. Okay, we have to concern ourselves about the life that we're living and the things that we need to do and get accomplished. But we can't allow those things to affect our mental state. We can't allow those things to stress us out and to have us lean on other forms of support than the Most High. But that happens a lot of times to us. A lot of times we just feel like we can't endure the hardship. It's just too much. I need something to compensate, or you understand, for this mental state that I'm in. is prayer. That's what it do it. Prayer. It'll help you, get through what you need to get through. But a lot of times we don't want to do that. That's I don't know what a lot of times we feel like it's not enough. What is it, too conventional or something? That's all we got to do a lot of times is just pray to the Most High, stop for a minute, get on our knees and pray and give it some time. And you'll notice that after a while, things is that stress and that pressure and that tension you feel in the Most High, he takes that away. That's what Yeshua said he would do. Right? He says, come unto me, all ye that are heavy with burdens. We don't want to take it to him. I want to take it to the bar. I want to take it to to narcotics instead of taking it to him. What's more on that?
It says that he may please him who had chosen him to be a soldier. That's
right. So we've been chosen, and we don't even understand that the importance of being chosen to be a soldier, to be a servant, and just being a soldier in itself means says a lot. To be a soldier, to be called to just even do this work. A soldier is not a civilian, but we act like we don't know how to handle and deal with things. That's it on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's read this commentary.
It says, when we get weak and suffer anxiety or depression, we have to use the scriptures to bring balance back to our lives. It says we have these records so that we can find comfort in times of trouble and stay on the path. Those that are strong should help those who are weak. And we must all learn to back away from our own selfish tendencies and look at life as not a life you have to take on alone, but rather understand the Father made us come together so that we can strengthen each other.
Mm-hmm. Let's get Jeremiah the 30th chapter. Yeah, that's true. The scriptures does bring a certain type of balance to your life. It brings a certain type of element. It brings clarity on different things, especially when someone shows you certain scriptures that may apply to your situation that you're going through. It brings you can understand it more. But when we don't deal with the scriptures, and we're not taught to reason with the Most High. That's what scriptures that where the Most High says, "Come, let us reason together." We're not taught to do that. We're taught to do the opposite, to run, to run the other way. We're not taught that when we're dealing with situations to get on our knees, and pray. Especially some of the younger generations. I know when I was coming up, my grandmother and grandfather, they kind of instilled those values in me. But the generations afterwards, it was hard, really trying to reach those that generation. And and we have another generation of teenagers that we're having difficulties trying to reach. Even though there's a lot of brothers and sisters waking up, but it seems like a lot of brothers and sisters are waking up, and there's still an anger there. There's still like this hostile attitude, that everybody just want to it seems like people looking more forward to killing than repenting, and I don't understand that. That's what it seems like, and the Most High said vengeance belongs to him. So we're at Jeremiah 38, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. All right, 38 and 3, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Jeremiah chapter 38, verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
Thus saith the Most High, this city shall surely be given into the hand of the king of Babylon's army, which shall take it. Therefore the princes say unto the king, we beseech thee, let this man be put to death, for thus he weakeneth the hands of the men of war.
Right. So Jeremiah was telling him about the prophecy that we were going to go into captivity, and the men felt like this was uh, um, a prophecy that wasn't inspiring the men. Okay, read.
It says, "We beseech thee, let this man be put to death, for thus he weakeneth the hands of the men of war that remaineth in the city, in the hands of all the people, and speaketh such words unto them. For this man seeketh not the welfare of this people, but the hurt."
Hmm.
Then Zedekiah the king said, "Behold, he is in your hand, for the king is not he that can do anything against you."
Hmm.
Then took they Jeremiah and cast him into the dungeon of Malachiah, the son of Hamelech, that was in a court of the prison. And they let down Jeremiah with cords. And in the dungeon there was no water, but mire. So Jeremiah sunk in the mire.
You know what? This is interesting. When you read verse 4, Jeremiah was actually trying to do the opposite of what they thought he was trying to do, but they couldn't even comprehend it. They didn't even realize it. That Jeremiah was trying to. They didn't understand that it was prophecy that they were actually really going in captivity. And there's a precept where I can't remember where it's at, where we tried to join forces with the other nations to try to escape this condition, and we just found ourselves in a further condition. I thought that was interesting. I'm sorry, I didn't explain that. Where we at now?
Verse 7. It says, "Now, when Ebed-Melech, the Ethiopian,
Abimelech?
Ebed-Melech,
Okay.
the Ethiopian, one of the eunuchs, which was in the king's house, heard that they had put Jeremiah in a dungeon. The king then sitting in the gate of Benjamin, Ebed-Melech went forth out of the king's house and spake to the king, saying, My lord, the king, these men have done evil in all that they have done to Jeremiah the prophet, whom they have cast into the dungeon, and he is like to die for hunger in the place where he is, for there is no more bread in the city. Then the king commanded Ebed-Melech the Ethiopian, saying, Take from thence 30 men with thee, and take up Jeremiah the prophet out of the dungeon before he die.
Mm-hmm.
So Ebed-Melech took the men with him, and went into the house of the king under the treasury, and took thence old cast clouts and old rotten rags, and let them down by cords into the dungeon to Jeremiah. And Ebed-Melech the Ethiopian said unto Jeremiah, Put now these old cast clouts and rotten rags under thy armholes under the cords. And Jeremiah did so. So they drew up Jeremiah with cords and took him up out of the dungeon, and Jeremiah remained in the court of the prison. Then Zedekiah the king sent and took Jeremiah the prophet unto him into the third entry that is in the house of the Most High. And the king said unto Jeremiah, I will ask thee a thing, hide nothing from me.
Okay, let's get 1 Peter 1 and 3. But Jeremiah, he sacrificed. I mean, he suffered. He was trying to explain to them about a prophecy that the Most High brought on them. They didn't want to receive it, and they cast him into a prison of dung. And he suffered and bared that burden to just do what the Most High required him to do, as far as telling us that we were going to serve the king of Babylon. So a lot of us, we do that also. A lot of us bear certain burdens to make sure brothers and sisters get certain information so they can, examine themselves and change their life. Let's get 1 Peter 1 and 3. One moment. Mm-hmm. So we need to bear one another's burdens, and we need to also be as a support for each other. Okay, 3 in 1 Peter 1 and 3.
1 Peter chapter 1 verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed be the Most High and the Father of our Lord Yeshua Christ,
Mm-hmm.
which according to his abundant mercy have begotten us this day unto a lively hope, by the resurrection of Yeshua Christ from the dead.
Right. So we have a lively hope. We have a living hope. We have a hope that we should have confidence in. Okay, we should take confidence in this, in this knowledge and this truth. We shouldn't feel any disparity. Okay, read.
Verse 4, to an inheritance incorruptible and undefiled,
Mm-hmm.
and that faded not away.
Right. So we have an inheritance that's incorruptible and it's undefiled. It can't be defiled. Okay, and it never fadeth away. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot that should inspire us. We have something to look forward to. It should give us. We should feel inspired by this information, by this knowledge and this truth, to realize that, listen, we're not going to always be in this state. I know it's hard right now. And I know we're facing a lot of adversity and a lot of difficulty in our life, but it's not going to always be like this. It's going to end. But we have to initiate things. We have to start the process. We have to get the ball rolling, and that's through us sacrificing our life right now. You understand? Not only just for ourselves, but for the next generation, for our children. You understand? I mean, you know, our forefathers did it. Our forefathers sacrificed. Our parents, our grandparents sacrificed. They gave up a lot to raise us. Parents are still giving up a lot to save their children so they can have a better life. And we may have to do that too. We may have to give up and make certain sacrifices. And, you know, especially a lot of you sisters out there, you mothers, y'all really gave up a lot of sacrifices to raise y'all children. Y'all could have went off and just did what y'all wanted to do. Y'all could have abandoned y'all kids, but y'all didn't choose to do that, because y'all realized the importance of your child needing to be nurtured by a mother. So he was like, listen, I have kids now. And I can't do the things that I used to do. I have to be more wise about who I have my sons and my daughters around. A lot of sisters, go without relationships and things like that because they want to make sure they're making the right decisions for their children. They want to be careful about who they're allowing in their kids' life. Read on.
Verse 4, it says, to an inheritance incorruptible and undefiled, and that faded not away, reserved in heaven for you, who are kept by the power of the Most High through faith.
Exactly. So we have reservations. That's what we have. Reservations. Nobody make a reservation and don't feel confident about it, and don't feel like they're not going to be able to make that reservation, or they're not going to be able to make it there. You understand? If we make reservations to do something, 9 times out of 10, we're able to carry, deal with the expectation of that reservation. All right? Read.
Verse 5. Who are kept by the power of the Most High through faith unto salvation.
That's interesting. So now we're kept by the power of the Most High. So our trust and our faith have to be in Him. That's what keep us. So we can't rely on any other kind of substance, any kind of controlled substance to keep our mind state. How do we look taking a drug to stay faithful? That's interesting. I gotta take a drug to stay faithful, to stay confident, to stay. I need this drink to stay in the spirit. Like, how does that work? But it seems like that's what people do. They rely just on artificial substances when the Holy Spirit is real. I mean, she's right here. Most High's right here. Yeshua, that in us. But we want something else in us. Then we go as far as to put the stuff in our veins sometimes. That's something else. It's crazy. Read on.
Verse 5. Who are kept by the power of the Most High through faith unto salvation, ready to be revealed in the last time, wherein ye greatly rejoice though now for a season, if needs be, you are in heaviness through manifold temptations.
Right. So just for a season, just for a while, we're going to be in heaviness through manifold or through many temptations, through the adversity period and stages that we go through. That's all it really is. It's just a process of refinement, a process of you just it's the most high way in correcting you and having you examine yourself. That's what all the hardship is about. That's what everything has been about. That's what this captivity has been about. That's what the curses have been about. To get us to examine ourselves and return to the Most High and just get ourselves together and to do it right this time. Which more on that?
Verse 7, that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of fine gold, than of gold that perishes.
So that's the importance of our faith. It's more important than gold. It's more important than any materialistic substance. It's more important than us getting high. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than the feeling. It's deeper than what you derive from the drink or whatever it is you're dealing with and taking. The Most High is trying to do something with us. He's trying to perfect our faith. He's trying to perfect our walk. He's trying to bring us to Him. He's trying to save us, and He's offering us salvation. He's offering us everlasting and eternal life, and we act like we don't even want it. And then we replace that with something else, with something that's artificial. It's crazy. Read.
Says that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory.
See, that's all the Most High want to do, because right now we're not in a praiseful state. We're not in an honorable state. We're not in a glorified state. We're defiled. In most cases, we're dirty. In most cases. And the Most High wants to refine us. He wants to we got to go through one part of the oven, and you got to come out on the other side of the oven. And that's what He wants us to do. So we have to, it's the straight gate. We have to go through it. And a lot of times, a lot of people don't realize this. And when you don't realize this, naturally, of course, you're going to try to find a way to cope and deal with life. When you don't realize, well, why this is happening to me? Why am I living this life? Why are these things happening? Why do I have to go through this? Why do I have to go through that? Like, what's going on? And this is why we turn to these substances, because we don't understand what's going on. Because in mainstream, it's not an attack against Christianity, but mainstream Christianity and these different religious institutions, they're not teaching the knowledge at this capacity. They're just teaching it to philosophize and teaching it to actually to control. Okay, they're not teaching it to wake you up, to bring you back to your heritage and your nationality and culture. They're teaching it to keep you asleep and to control you and manage you. And that's the sad part about it, that they're using the word of the Most High deceitfully. Read.
At the appearing of Yeshua Christ, whom having not seen you loved, and whom though now you see Him not, yet believing, you rejoice with joy unspeakable and full of glory, receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your souls.
Right, and that's what we should be looking for and anticipating, the end of our faith, which is salvation. That's the end of everything that we're believing in. Salvation, being delivered out of this state, being uplifted, being restored in our rightful state, in the earth. Read.
Verse 10, of which salvation the prophets have inquired and searched diligently, who prophesied of the grace that should come unto you.
Even the prophets anticipated this and wanted to have this experience. And we're at a time period where we see that it's tangible. We're living the prophecy. We're living everything the prophets spoke about. We're living it. We're experiencing it. We're seeing it. That's what Yeshua was making reference. Isaiah was talking about when he said that we were going to be His witnesses. We were going to see these things and live through these things real time. And it's happening. We're in the period. We're in that season. We're in the moment. All right. It's more than that. That's it. That's it. Okay. Let's the commentary.
It says we have to determine for ourselves that we would choose to follow the Father with a complete determination in our own mind. Our captivity include our captive minds, will be made free of anguish if we truly seek to follow his will and learn patience through our adversaries, adversities. Excuse me.
Let's get 2 Corinthians, the first chapter. Everybody looking for the answer. The Bible is the answer. Everybody's looking for security. They're looking for a way out, looking for comfortability, looking for protection. Everybody, we all seem to be, the world just seems to be searching for something. And it seems like we just want the power, the money, you know. We want everything that this world has to offer us. That's what we're in pursuit of. It seems like that has took precedent over everything else, over our spirits, over our lives. It seems like we'd rather go to hell first. But it's nothing. Once you're in hell, that's it. You can't go back. There's no repenting in hell. There's there's nothing there. Once you're there, you're there. You can't go back and make it right, like the brother Lazarus, right? Wanted to come back and you know, he was saying I had 5 brothers, you know, and he was told that they had Moses and the prophets. That's what we have. We have Moses and the prophets. That's all we're going to get. We're only going to get the sign of Jonas. We're not going to get anything else. What did I want? 2 Corinthians?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. 2 Corinthians 1, and let's start from verse 3.
2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed be the Most High, even the Father of our Lord Yeshua Christ, the Father of mercies and the power of all comfort.
Right. So he's the power of all comfort. So he controls comfort. He controls the comforter. He sends the comforter. But she's not enough for us. We want to take comfort in you know, in alcohol and beer and cannabis and different things like that. We don't want to embrace that. We want to embrace everything else to bring us some kind of solitude and peace. Read.
Verse 4. Who comforted us in all our tribulations.
You see that? It's the Most High that comforts us in all our tribulations. But it's not enough. I need something additional. I just need this. I need this fix so I can just relax. You know, I need this so I can just relax. I can just feel, you know, it just helps me feel more at ease. But the Holy Spirit does that. Read.
That we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble by the comfort wherewith we ourselves are confident of the Most High.
Right. See, we confident in His truth. Nothing else can help me. I don't care what I'm dealing with. Nothing else can really alleviate the stress and the pressures that I deal with. I mean, I might drink some wine and have a strong drink, but after that, I'm still seeking something else. Something is still missing, and it's the Most High. It's the Holy Spirit. It's this knowledge. It's this truth. I know that I'm nothing without it. Read.
Verse 5. For as the sufferings of Christ abound in us, so our consolations also abounded by Christ. And whether we be afflicted, it is for your consolation and salvation, which is effectual in the enduring of the same sufferings.
You see that? So we all have to have the same experience. That's what Paul was saying. The same experience Yeshua experienced. Paul and the disciples, they had that experience. They had that suffering. So we're going to experience it too. But it also came with the benefit too. It came with a certain peace. It came with it came with a certain comfort, realizing that you were changing, that you were repenting, that you were doing self-examination, that you were just being a better person, that you were honoring and having respect for the Most High. Okay, read.
Verse 7. And our hope of you is steadfast, knowing that as you are partakers of the suffering, so shall ye be also of the consolation.
Right, and that's something else that we got to keep in mind too. So we're we're part of the suffering. So we're going to be part of the benefit. We're going to receive the promises. Everything that was promised to us, we're going to receive. The Most High is going to make good. So why not go through what you need to go through in order to reap the benefit? You know, who runs the last lap and then just collapse before they cross the finish line? You're almost there. Okay, but because, you know, I mean, those guys barely be making it. When you look at the track and field, they come across the line, you know, they fall. They collapse as soon as they get across it. But who collapsed before? But that's what some of us do. You know, it doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
And then the scriptures talks about a man is crowned if he strive lawfully. And that's interesting too about when you think about the athletes, because you actually get disqualified dealing with the drugs, with the narcotics. So we need to look at it that way. Us dealing with these substances, it really disqualifies us because we're not really resting and leaning on the Most High. It was, you know, we thought it was that got us through. And we thought it was that was, or we relied and depend on that to hold us up, to get us through, dealing with, you understand, these different products. But we're missing out. We're making a mistake, viewing it and looking at it that way. So where we at? Commentary?
No.
Right,
Yeah.
Okay.
It says we go through lows so that we may help to be a testimony for others in times of weakness. Those of wisdom are able to find comfort in the Most High and use lessons learned to help others find similar comfort. Our lives are not our own.
That's interesting. So we have to share our experiences. You know, we have to comfort and support one another. You know, we have to be able to relate to one another. And those of us who may have had experiences that we see people going through right now, we have to talk to them about that and kind of explain to them, you know, how we managed to get through a particular situation. We didn't necessarily have to, you know, deal with pharmaceutical products or deal with antidepressants and things like that. You know, so we have to share our experience with other people so that they can know that they don't have to do that either to make it through situations. All right. So let's get 1 Peter 4:1.
1 Peter chapter 4, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
For as much then as Christ has suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind.
Right. So the same way that Yeshua suffered for us in his flesh and in his body, we need to do the same thing too. Can we suffer in our flesh, in our bodies, to uplift a brother or a sister, to help them with their process of recovery or whatever it may be? Can we do that? Can we make the sacrifice? Or are we going to, you know, just be selfish and think about ourselves? Read.
For he that had suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin, that he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men.
Right, and that's what we find ourselves doing a lot of times. Living, we don't cease from sin, and we find ourselves living the rest of our life through lust, through sin. But it should be the opposite. We should be living and dedicating, rather, the rest of our lives to righteousness, to the Most High, to this truth. Read.
But to the will of the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 3. For the time past our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles, when we walked in lasciviousness, lust, excessive wine, revellings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries.
Right. So we was living our past life to the will of the Gentiles, to the will of this society, how they devising, you know, things to be. Like, listen, you get paid on Friday, you hit the club, you hit the bar. That's the norm. But they designed it for it to be that way. You know, how many people? Well, we do that now, but I remember times where I didn't spend time with the family on Fridays. I was out with the boys. You know, doing some of these things we just read about. Read.
Verse 4, wherein they think it strange that you run not with them to the same excess of riot.
Right. And when you don't live this kind of life and do these kind of things anymore, people think that you're strange. They start looking at you funny, like, what's going on with you? Like, why you're not, you don't enjoy these activities anymore? No, I don't. I'm examining myself. I'm changing. I'm dealing with my stress better. Me and my wife, we're talking now. We're having we're spending time, at home with the kids. We're having family outings instead of running out with the brothers. We're talking more about how we need to resolve our issues and come together collectively as a family and unify and teach our children and our kids. That's what we need to be doing when we're dealing with all these stress and these pressures. But no, a lot of times we want to link up with the boys, you understand, or sisters linking up with the girls, and you start dealing with all these particular vices and sins, which doesn't improve your situation. It just makes things more worse. Okay? Read.
Verse 4, wherein they think it strange that run not with them to the same excess of riot, speaking evil of you,
Mm-hmm.
who shall give account to him that is ready to judge the quick and the dead.
Right, because at the end of the day, we have to give an account for this behavior. We don't really, we're not really escaping anything, And a lot of us, I think it's the drugs and the alcohol and stuff that causes us to forget. A lot of times when we wake up the next day, we don't remember what we did. So we forget that we have to pay for that stuff. Whatever you did last night, it's going to be revisited during that day. Read.
Verse 6, for this cause was the gospel preached also to them that are dead, that they might be judged according to men in the flesh,
Mm-hmm.
but to live according to the Most High in the Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. Above all things have fervent charity among yourselves,
Mm-hmm.
for charity shall cover the multitude of sins.
Right.
Use hospitality to one to another without grudging. As every man had received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of the Most High.
Right.
If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of the Most High. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which the Most High giveth, that the Most High in all things may be glorified through Yeshua Christ, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Beloved, thinking not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you, but rejoice in as much as you are partakers of Christ's sufferings.
Right. So a lot of these things that we experience, we shouldn't think that it's strange. We should rejoice in these conditions, in these trials or tribulations, whatever it is we're going through. We should rejoice. But a lot of times we don't. A lot of us, we don't know how to handle it, and we look at it negatively, and we become angry. We deal with we become bitter. Because we don't know why we're having these experiences. Why I have to go through this? Why I have to experience this? Why can't it be different? And then we're always comparing our life based off of someone else's life. The law wasn't given to the nations. That's why the Most High says, therefore, he was going to punish us. I gave it to you. Okay, let them do what they're doing right now. Don't envy the life of a sinner, the scripture says. But because we can't do what they're doing and the Most High's afflicting us, you understand, we become bitter. And we start second guessing the Most High. We start questioning him. And we take on a rebellious spirit because we just don't understand what's going on. Read.
That when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. If ye be reproached for the name of Christ, happy are you. For the spirit of glory and of the Most High rested upon you.
Mm-hmm. So when we go through different situations and when we're reproached, it's actually a benefit, but we don't look at it that way. We don't see that it's the Most High correcting us. That's love, but we can't relate to it. We don't understand that's the Most High taking that's him taking an interest in us. But we look at it as bad luck. I must have bad luck or whatever, you know. That's how we look at it. No, you don't have bad luck. You got good luck, actually. You need to appreciate that the Most High is taking an account of your behavior and he's afflicting you, trying to get you to correct yourself. Read it.
On their part, he is evil spoken of, but on your part, he is glorified.
Mm-hmm.
But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters.
See, this is how we want to suffer. We don't want to suffer for righteousness' sake. But we'll suffer as a what? As a murderer, as a thief, an evildoer, being involved in other people's business. We'll suffer like that. Yeah, I'll take that on the chin. But the other way, you can't even relate to that. I ain't do nothing wrong. Why am I living this kind of life? You know what I do wrong? I've been okay. I never did anything like that to anybody. Not even realizing that you grossly sinned against the Most High. You may not have done anything personal to anyone else, but you sinned against the Most High, and you have to bear your iniquity, or actually really it's correction. But we don't see it that way though. Read.
Verse 16. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify the Most High on his behalf.
Mm-hmm.
For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High.
Right. Who do that? Who go through? Who catch hell and enjoy it? Who catch hell and understand it? That that you're supposed to go through it, and then when you really sit back and think about it, you deserve it. You don't want to say that though. You don't want to relate to that. We don't. But in the back of your mind, or in the front of your mind, rather, you're like, yeah, I kind of deserve that. You don't want to tell anybody about that though. Let's read this commentary.
It says, as a follower of Christ, you will be attacked by the devil and his minions because you are the only real threat within the earth against his world that he has built to defy the Father. It will feel at times like there's no way to go but down. In reality, these sufferings are temporary, and if you endure them, you will be in great happiness and eternal joy.
Let's get Acts the 16th chapter. So the Most High, he wants to use us. He wants to use us as vessels of honor, and he want to use us to cleanse the earth. Excuse me. That's what he want to use us for. And a lot of times we're fighting against that. Most High want to use you for something great. You don't want that. But you let Satan use you for something great and wickedness. You'll embrace that, but the Most High want to use you. The Most High power see something in you, want to use you to save probably thousands of people, maybe hundreds of thousands of people. And you're like, no, I don't want to do that. There's no glory in that. You got Acts 16?
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 minute. Okay. 22, Acts 16 and 22.
Right. It says, and the multitude rose up together against them, and the magistrates rent off their clothes and commanded to beat them.
Can we go start from 19?
Mm-hmm.
First? Excuse me.
Acts chapter 16, verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
And when her masters saw that the hope of their gain was gone, they caught Paul and Silas and drew them into the marketplace unto the rulers, and brought them to the magistrates, saying, these men, being Jews, do exceedingly trouble our city,
Mm-hmm.
and teach customs which are not lawful for us to receive, neither to observe, being Romans. And the multitude rose up together against them, and the magistrates rent off their clothes and commanded to beat them. And when they had laid many stripes upon them, They cast them into the prison, charging the jailer to keep them safely, who, having received such a charge, thrust them into the inner prison and made their feet fast in the stocks. And at midnight, Paul and Silas prayed and sang praises unto the Most High.
Wait a minute. They was cast into prison and they were singing, rejoicing. I don't know. I don't remember none of that. I was trying to get a phone call. And I wasn't smiling. I wasn't happy about it. They was rejoicing. You know, and that's how we have to be. We have to rejoice in our conditions. We have to rejoice when we're dealing with affliction and hardship. Read.
It says, verse 25, and at midnight Paul and Silas prayed and sang praises unto the Most High, and the prisoners heard them. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundations of the prison were shaken. And immediately all the doors were open, and everyone's bands were loosed.
In a time of affliction and hardship, these brothers exalted the Most High. The Most High, like, go down there. Sent the angel down there. Look at these brothers. They're not whining and complaining. What are we going to do? How are we going to, you know, who's going to come get us? Who's going to rescue us out of this condition, out of this state? Prayer. Pray. And that's what we have to do. You know, we need to learn from this incident, that when we come upon these different situations later on, you know, that we got to come together collectively and pray to the Most High and ask Him for deliverance. Help us, Father, get out of this situation that we're in. Okay? Which more on that?
Yeah. Verse 27, and the keeper of the prison awaked out of his sleep, and seeing the prison doors open, he drew out his sword and would have killed himself, supposing that the prisoners had been fled.
He knew it was a wrap. How am I going to explain this? Right?
But Paul cried with a loud voice, saying, do thyself no harm, for we are all here. Then he called for a light, and sprang in, and came in trembling, and fell down before Paul and Silas, and brought them out, and said, Sirs, what must I do to be saved? And they said, believe on the Lord Yeshua Christ, and thou shalt be saved in thy house.
This is interesting. So this is actually him being a light. Paul and Silas being a light to the Gentiles. Yeah. He witnessed what happened, how the Most High delivered them in this affliction and under these particular conditions, and it caused them to convert. It caused them to believe. And this is the light that the Most High is talking about. This is what, and you know, that's why the Most High also says that His name is that we blaspheme His name amongst the Gentiles too. Because they're looking at our people and they're like, I don't think I want to serve that God. Not the way these people are acting. I think this is the wrong guy right here. I think we need to stay where we at, you know, because people that's dealing with Buddha and all these other religions, and you know, they seem to be a little more civilized. And it's sad that people have to see that in us, and that it stagnates them from wanting to come into this knowledge and this truth, because they see how we behave. In and out truth. People are looking at us, and they're gauging us, and they're like, I don't know. This is why Rawchaa says a lot of the nations are actually on the sideline waiting. A lot of nations are. They're waiting for us to they're waiting to see something more in us than what they see in us. They're just waiting. So everybody's waiting on us. Everybody, all of creation, waiting on you, waiting on us. What's more on that?
Let's sit on that.
Okay, let's get this commentary.
All right, it says, Paul was in prison singing and praising the Father, yet within the comfort of our own homes, we murmur against him, even at the smallest of uncomfortable things that may happen in our lives. that we may have to experience even for a few moments. Paul was heard by the Father, even released him from his imprisoned state. Excuse me. It says, this is another example of what we must look to in order to get the bigger picture to help us avoid spiritual despair.
That's so true, because the smallest things we go through, we second guessing the Most High. Not even in prison. Just something. Your utilities probably can get cut off, and you shook. I don't know why the Most High let this happen. It's sad. The smallest thing, we start doubting, and we ready to run. Let's get Psalms 91. Psalms 91, and let's start from verse 8.
Psalms chapter 91, verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold, and see the reward of the wicked.
Mm-hmm.
Because thou hast made the Most High, which is my refuge, even the Most High thy habitation.
Mm-hmm.
There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling.
Right, so we make the Most High our refuge, meaning keeping His laws, His statutes, and His commandments. That's the protection. Okay, can't have one without the other. You can have faith, but you got to have work too. You got to have a performance of the Lord. You got to have some discipline. You got to have some obedience too. Okay, just because you gave Abraham's children, it's not enough. All right, read.
Verse 11. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways.
Right, the same thing he did with Paul and Silas. He gave the angels charge over them to keep them in all their ways, the same way he does with us. A lot of times, those situations that we've encountered throughout this walk, the Most High, the angel was there, delivering us through all those hardships, through all those afflictions. We're never left alone, even when we're physically alone. We're never left alone. Okay, they're always there. But we too busy we too carnal and physical. You don't need a shoulder to cry on. Just cry. Get on your knees and just cry. Okay, but because we don't have that physical person there, we feel like we lose confidence or something. We lose courage because we feel like it's just us. It's never just you. All right. Read.
Verse 12. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under the feet. Because he has set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high because he had known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation.
Let's get Matthew, the 12th chapter. Because we actually, when we try to run and try to deliver ourselves from the Most High's chastisement and from Him dealing with us, our condition just actually really gets worse. And a lot of times we don't realize that too, and then we're still wondering why. Darn this, it's been. We don't have patience. We think because we go through a hardship. I've been in this condition for it's been a year now. In 2 years now, what's going on? I could have got myself out of this sooner. We start, trusting in ourselves, thinking that, we can deliver ourselves, and we can't. We have to be patient and just wait, because you try to deliver yourself and make the wrong move, and find yourself in you understand, in further turmoil. All right. So let's get 12, Matthew 12, and let's start from verse 43.
Yeah. Matthew chapter 12, verse 43. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places seeking rest, and findeth none. Then he said, I will return into my house from whence I came out.
Mm-hmm.
And when it is come, and when he is come, he findeth it swept. He findeth it empty and swept and garnished.
Mm-hmm.
Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself.
Right. And this is what happened when a man and a woman decides to clean themselves up and get themselves together. You know, the spirit and demons leave them. You know, they're clean. They got themselves together. But for some apparent reason, something happens and they allow themselves to be open again. And, you know, the spirit is just, you know, they're lurking. They're going to and fro on the earth like Satan was doing. And they just looking to whoever they can get in. They'll fly all across the ocean, fly back, fly back, you know, and you open. Now they got you. Excuse me. Now they moving in. Let's read on.
It says, other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwelleth there.
Mm-hmm.
And the last state of that man is worse than the first.
That's what happens. The last state is worse than the first. Let's move on. Let's get John, St. John, the 5th chapter. I can relate to that. John 5, and let's start from verse 10.
St. John chapter 5, verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
The Jews therefore said unto him that was cured, it is the Sabbath day. It is not lawful for thee to carry thy bed.
Right, so this was after Yeshua had healed the brother, and the Jews confronted him, saw him carrying his bed on the Sabbath. They were like, why are you carrying your bed on the Sabbath? You know, you say Yeshua just healed me, and he told me to take my bed up. You know, I can't just leave it here. I got to take it home. Read.
Verse 11. He answered them, he that made me whole, the same said unto me, take up thy bed and walk. Then asked they him, what man is that which said unto thee, take up thy bed and walk? And he that was healed wist not who it was, for Yeshua had conveyed himself away, a multitude being in that place. Afterward Yeshua findeth him in the temple and said unto him, behold, thou art made whole, sin no more, lest a worse thing come unto thee.
Right, so he said, listen, I made you whole, but sin no more unless a worse thing come upon you. So Yeshua kind of doubled back. He's like, wait a minute, let me go catch this guy, because I think in one precept, he told him to go and still make his offering.
Yeah.
Right? He told him to still go. No, because he was at the temple at this time. Maybe he was about to make it, but I forget what precept it talks about, how he told him, you know, after he healed him, he's like, now go to the priest and make your offering. So he doubled back. He's like, listen, you know, you understand? Look, you get ready to make that offering. I done healed you. Stay straight, unless you're going to be dealing with greater issues. Wow. Hey, Yeshua, he tell it like it is, though. You know, let's get 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter. We make our condition worse, trying to run, trying to hide, trying to, you know, do what we think we can do, you know, and we can't change our stature. Like, you can't change your condition. If the Most High wants you to be destitute right now, that's what you're going to be. If he wants you to be in this state right now, that's the state you're going to be until he decides to lift it. That's just it. And when you're in that state, just deal with it. You know, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how uncomfortable it is, no matter how perplexing it is, whatever, you know, you just have to just be patient, stay in that state, Stay positive. Stay constructive. Know that you're going to come out of it. And look for your delivery date. You understand? Look for your deliverance date. All of us, we're anticipating. You understand? Our delivery date, the second coming. You understand? We're anticipating that with total confidence. So when you're dealing with your afflictions, know that you're going to be delivered. Okay. So what did I want?
1 Corinthians 10.
Okay, 1 Corinthians 1. All right. Okay. I think it's almost time to close it up. It's been about 2 hours, right? Okay. Okay. Start from 1.
1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 1. Moreover, brethren, I would not that you should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and were all baptized into Moses in the cloud, and in the sea, and did all eat the same spiritual meat, and did all drink the same spiritual drink. For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ.
Right.
But with many of them the Most High was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. Now these things...
Right, so initially we all share the same experience. All these people had the same experience, but some of them struggled after what they bear witness that Moses did for them. They still had struggles after all that Moses did. Some still just, took it for granted, I suppose. Read.
Verse 6. Now these things were our examples, to the intent we should not lust after evil things.
So these things should be an example for us. Okay? We should learn from the mistakes of our forefathers. The scriptures were written aforetime for our learning. We should learn from these events. Read.
As they also lusted. Verse 7. Neither be ye idolaters, as were some of them, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Neither let us commit fornication, as some of them committed, and fell in one day 23,000.
That's a large number. It's a large number. And see, those numbers are coming back again. See, it's been far few and in between. But when groves of us start meeting our demise, that's when we're going to get it together. 1 or 2 here or there. I think we got some time. I think, Moses, he's just still being lenient and patient with us. Yeah, he is. But that's going to run out. When he hasn't really started at his house, at his sanctuary yet. When he do, we're going to know about it. That's when everybody going to want to scramble and get it together and get it right. That's how we work. Read.
Verse 9. Neither let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted, and were destroyed of serpents. So
that's what we do. We tempt him. We know better. We know right from wrong, but we tempt him. In our ignorance, in our willful sin, we tempt him. Then when he made good on it, you don't understand. Like what happened to the mercy and the grace? Like, what's going on? I thought you was a merciful power. Yeah, I mean, come on. I've been merciful with you, brother. Just think about it. We all need to think about it. Think about the mercy and the grace the Most High has had with us and towards us. It's embarrassing. It's shameful. It is when you think about it. I'm surprised my shirt is still white. Because we have to get it together, all of us. Me too, all of us. Nobody is exempt. There's more on that.
Yeah, it says, neither let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted, and were destroyed of serpents. Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured, and were destroyed of the destroyer.
Murmuring, unappreciative. After all the Most High did, we're still whining and we're still complaining. Ungrateful. Ungrateful. Never satisfied. It's never enough. Like what do we want? Well, I imagined it to be another way. You know, we want what we imagine in our minds. We want the Most High to do what we conjure up, what we imagine. You know, the Most High is not, you know, this is the script right here. It's already designed. Now, we can't come up with a new format and a new approach. The Most High does it the way He simply does it. Okay? Read.
Verse 11. Now all these things happen unto them for examples, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come.
Right, and that's what all these things were written for. These things were written for us to be admonished. They're written for us to be corrected, for us to deal with self-examination, self-reflection. You know, so all our you know, all our hope, all our you know, things that we are anticipating, that we're hoping for, that we're looking forward to, it should be based off what the Most High said that He would do scripturally. Everything. You know, we shouldn't have our own perception of how we think the Most High should deal with things and how life should be. And then when it's not like that, we don't even want to trust in the Most High. We don't want to lean on Him. We want to lean on something else. We want to lean on this society. We want to lean on another man or another woman. And we're supposed to support one another. So in certain aspects, we do have to lean on each other. Okay, but our main support staff, it has to be the Most High, Yeshua, and the Holy Spirit initially at first. Then you understand brothers and sisters, husband and wives, whatever the case may be. But a lot of times we don't want to do that. You know, we want to. That's why the Most High says, "Cursed is he that trusteth in man." Too. You got to be careful, because you can lay it all and give it all to a man, and you can miss it. Lay it all and give it all to the Most High. That's what we have to give it to. You know, so that's going to be it, brothers and sisters. I didn't mean to go over time, but I hope everyone was able to get something out of the lesson. Elder Rawchaa put together a very good lesson once again. And it's a battle, you know, it's a fight dealing with anxiety and stress, and we have to just give it to the Most High instead of giving it to man, instead of dealing with these different controlled substances and things like that. That's what I meant to mention earlier too. Like, we have to be really careful with these controlled substances, because that's what they want. They want us to be incapacitated. They want us to be diagnosed with these different mental illnesses. You understand? That's how we lose our. That's how we lose our I don't want to say our constitutional rights, but you lose certain rights. You understand? When they can diagnose you as having a particular mental illness, then you're mentally incapacitated. You're mentally not sound. Yo, we can do what we want to do with this dude, or she's unstable. And what can you do about it? Because on record or legally, you're labeled and deemed mentally unstable. Look, we had to control him. We had to. I mean, what were we supposed to do? We had to control him. He was under a controlled substance. We had to put him down. We had to arrest him. And this is why when they do make certain arrests, they always try to plant drugs on you, or they try to put it in your system. You understand? It's sad, you know. But we just got to be mindful, and you know, brothers and sisters that's struggling with different situations when it comes to narcotics, we got to try to help them with their family members, loved ones, friends, whatever the case may be. We got to reach out to these brothers and sisters. We got to support them, and we got to just help them walk through the process. You know, because this, you know, this system is they're going more and more. That this mental health thing is getting out of control. and we just got to just be mindful of it. So once again, I just hope all the brothers and sisters online was able to get something out of the class. Hope you all here was able to get something out of the class. The water to Elder Rawchaa for designing this beautiful lesson. I learned a lot. I was cut, you know.
Yeah,
So I just want to say Shabbat Shalom, and to you brothers and sisters. I believe Elder Gabar will be coming on soon with one of his classes. I don't know whether it's going to be going into the law or whether he's going to be dealing with one of his topical discussions. So he should be on shortly. I guess Elder Rawchaa and Elder Lawya will see the Hebrew Academy members tomorrow in Hebrew Academy. Most I will. They'll see you there. And most I will see you brothers next time. We have to stand in for Elder Rawchaa and Elder Lawya. So we want to say Shabbat Shalom to you all. And Shalom. Okay.